Hello and welcome to Mtandao Center, where we are all about digital identity and presence. I'm your guide, George Giduma Njogu, also known as Mtandao Center. Now, yesterday we did an introduction, and I told you in the next couple of days we are going to be talking about digital identity and presence. So, on your screen, you can see our website there, mtandaocenter.basel.app. And at the top left-hand corner, you can see a logo and Mtandao Center with digital identity and presence. Now, before we move further, I would like us to talk a bit about digital identity. And to help us do this, we shall be using our AI. And the AI we're going to using today is DeepSeek AI. DeepSeek AI is an open source Chinese AI assistant. And this is the landing page for them. You can be able to read about them. And I'll go straight to start now. And here we'll be able to ask the AI what is digital identity, and it will give us an idea. So I already did this because as I prepare the lessons, I would like to have the notes beforehand so that I can be able to guide you properly. So let me just go here on the side, and then let me collapse that so that we don't focus here. And the question I asked it is, what is digital identity? And in 5 seconds, it thought about it and came up with this. So the simple definition is, at its core, your digital identity is the body of information about an individual, organization, or electronic device that exists online. So it is the body of information about an individual, an organization, or electronic device that exists online. In this case, we shall be focusing more on organizations and businesses. It is the collection of digital traces, attributes, and credentials that uniquely represents you in the digital world. So these are unique identifiers. So digital traces, attributes, and credentials that uniquely present you on the digital world. We shall go further into these traces and attributes just in momentarily. So think of it as your digital shadow or avatar. So every time you interact online, logging into a website, making a purchase, posting on social media, or even just browsing, you're using and contributing to your digital identity. So digital identity is what tracks you online. Okay. So let's look at the components that are there in the what makes up your digital identity. So a digital identity isn't just a username and password. It's a complex set of data points that can be broken down into three main categories. So let's start with category one, identifiers. Identifiers, what are identifiers? These are the pieces of information that point to a specific, unique entity, that is you or your organization. They're like labels on your digital self. So what are examples of this? So names, your username, your display name, or your real name. That is your digital identity. Account numbers. So email addresses, bank account numbers, or customer IDs. This is also an identifier when it comes to digital identity. Digital addresses, what we call IP addresses, email addresses, or phone numbers. These are also examples of digital identifiers. Biometric data. Today we use fingerprints or facial recognition or even voice recognition. Data used to unlock your phone. So data used to unlock your phone, your computer, any biometric data. These can be classified and identifiers when it comes to digital identity. Then we have the second category, which is attributes. These are characteristics and traits that describe you. So they can be inherent attributes. So inherent attributes, these are things that you're born with, like your age, date of birth, or biometric data. These ones don't change. These ones are constant because they came with you when you came to this world. And also when you get into the digital world, these attributes that cannot be changed. So assigned attributes is information given to you by an authority, like social security number, passport number, or student's ID. These are information given to you by an authority, say a government. So for example, in Kenya, When you're born, you get a birth certificate number. When you get to 18, you get your identity number. You can also get your passport. When you go to school, your certifications, they have numbers. These are assigned attributes. This you did come with, but you are assigned in the process of living in this world. And so also in a digital world, this an authority can assign you some attributes which you can use to identify yourself. Accumulated attributes. This is data collected about you over time, such as purchase history, browsing habits, or location data. So, for example, you've heard about Google and Facebook, the way they are able to know what you would like to buy online. So, these are accumulated data. These are maybe sites that you've browsed, uh, all that kind of thing. So, you accumulate digital attributes while you interact with the internet. The third category we are going to talk about is the credentials. These are proofs that you are who you say you are. They are keys you use to verify yourself. So at the lowest of this is passwords and PIN. So the most common, though often the weakest form of credential. So anytime you want to open your email or you want to access your phone, you use passwords and pins. These are credentials when it comes to digital identity. They help you prove you're who you are. Security token. So think of the one-time code sent to your phone or generated by an app. So for example, when you're using WhatsApp and you're registering for the first time, it sends you a one-time PIN. Even sometimes your Gmail or some accounts you want to log in, they send you an OTP, one-time PIN. These are called security tokens and they are under credentials when it comes to digital identity. So digital certificate, electronic files used to prove the ownership of a public key, often used for secure websites. So when you're in the Web3, let's say crypto side, also your website, they use some things called digital certificates, which are able to prove that you are who you are. Okay, so biometric verification, so use of fingerprints, face or voice credentials. So these are also unique identifiers and they can be used as credentials to prove that you are who you are saying you are when you are accessing the online space. So let's talk a bit about the history and the evolution of the digital identity from the simple to the complex. So the concept of digital identity has evolved significantly. So the first form of digital identity was when we were using the Web 1. Web 1 was the early days of the web development and the internet. So let's say between the 90s to around 2000, 2002, 2003 there, that's why we can say web 3 was most prevalent. So your identity was often just a simple username and a password. It was disconnected from your real world self. So most of the time you find that people identified themselves with the organization they work with, or maybe the terminal that you're using to access the internet. And this was not usually tied to your normal, to your actual self. So it was not tied to your real name. You could be able to just create a fake email and you'll operate like that without anyone really tying that email to your identity. Now, when we came to Web 2, the social era, identity became more social and persistent. So persistent means that it is always there, it is always asked. And your Facebook or Google profile became your identity across multiple sites. So for example, today, if you want to log into most of the sites, you will see something like, do you want to log in with your Gmail, or do you want to log in with your Facebook, or you want to log in with your LinkedIn, for example. So you created one account, and this account is used to track you through the system. So your activities, like for example, when you like, when you share, when you comment, it became part of your digital persona. So people could be able to see you through your account, and also whatever you attach to that account. So your face, your avatar, and your comments, they can be linked back to your persona. So include link back to your persona. This includes your name. It can be linked back to your phone number and things like that. Then we have, this is where we are, most of us right now, but now we are moving into Web3, which is the future. This focus shifting towards self-sovereign identity, SSI, self-sovereign identity. This is the concept that you, the individual, should own and control your identity data without relying on central authorities like Google or Facebook. You will store your credential in a digital wallet and only share the specific information needed, e.g., providing you are over 18 without showing your exact birth date. So, if you've been in the blockchain space, this is what we're talking about. You just get a digital identifier, which is very hard to link to your persona. Um, but also it just allows you to fulfill some of the basics. So, for example, if the site is for over 21 or for 18, you can prove this. But then you just get a long hash of number which you store in your wallet, and most of the time when you lose this one, you can never be able to access that account again. So this is where we are going, the Web3, or what we're calling decentralized organization and all that. This is a bit too deep for this section, but I'm sure in the coming future we shall be talking about it. So, why is the digital identity important? So, your digital identity is central to modern life for several reasons. So first of all is convenience. It allows for seamless access to services like online banking, shopping, and social media. So for example, let's take example of your Gmail account. Your Gmail account can be used to log into most accounts so that when you go to that account, you don't need to again fill in your details. So you create one identity and that identity can be used over and over again. This makes it convenient for most people. So security. Strong digital identities help prevent fraud and unauthorized access to your accounts. So here's where we're talking about multi-factor authentication is a prime example for this. So for example, today in Kenya at least, if you're registering for a new Gmail account, it will most of the time ask you to verify your phone number. And this phone number can be tied into something called multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication is whereby you're using um, one parameter to identify yourself. So, for example, if you log into your Gmail, you will need your phone number to authenticate that you are the one. So, for example, if you lose a password, for example, and you go to password, it will use the other factors that you've provided to it to actually determine that you are the person trying to get back into that account. The other thing is privacy. How your digital identity is managed determines how much of your personal data is collected, shared, and sold. This is why privacy laws like the GDPR and CCPA are so important. We shall talk about this more in the coming days. And even in Kenya, we have the Data Act or something of the 2019. And yeah, you can be able to see this. Let's say, let's go to, I think it's the Office of the Controller of Data, OCDP or something like that. No, 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 no. Let's just say Data Act 2019. And yeah, so we have this organization. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? This is a kind of data protection law. Uh, Data Act 2019 Authority. Let's look at the authority. Data protection. So, okay, let's just look at the Data Protection Act. So, in Kenya, we have this Data Protection Act, the Data Protection General Regulation 21 Arrangement Regulation. So, this is a Kenya Data Act, so you can look at it later on your time. But basically, these acts are there to protect us, to protect our privacy. Also, why is the digital identity important? Economic participation. In many parts of the world, a digital identity is becoming essential for accessing government services, opening banks, accounts or getting a job. So for example, when you look at something like the e-citizen in Kenya, e-citizen, um, so if, for example, I go to the e-citizen to log in, you see it will ask me for my email address or ID number and password. And this is what will allow me to sign in. And from here, I can be able to access government services. So digital identity is important for that and for other reasons. But for now, it's just showing you some of the examples of why digital identity is important. So in summary, your digital identity is a dynamic and valuable representation of you in the online world, encompassing everything from your login credentials to your deepest online behaviors. Managing it securely and understanding its value is one of the most critical challenges of digital age. So that is the most important part. It's a dynamic and valuable representation of you in the online world, and it encompasses everything from your login credential to your deepest online behavior. So for example, if you go to YouTube and so let's for example go to Mtandao Center YouTube. If I open my YouTube, you'll see some of my recommendations, because this is Mtandao Center, as you can see up here. This is Mtandao Center. I have uh, other other accounts, but if you see, this is Mtandao Center, and Mtandao Center is mostly focused on tech issues. So, and I also like looking at world politics. So you can see, if I come here, most of my information, uh, you can see some of the things that I mostly watch. So you can be able to see the algo will recommend to me things that I mostly watch. So yeah, yeah, you can see some of my history. If you open somebody else, you will see what they usually like watching. So a digital identity is able to track you over the internet, and this allows people to interact with you as a human in the digital world or as an entity. You can be a human, you can be a machine, you can be an organization. So digital identity is important for you to interact in the digital world. So if you're wondering why we are talking about digital identity, this is why we are talking about digital identity. In the next in the next lesson, we are going to look at the digital presence. Now we are looking at the identity and presence. And also in the description of this video, I will attach the link to these notes, because this will be our notes, so that you can also be able to go and check. But again, just as yourself, I've said we are leveraging artificial intelligence. So you can just go to DeepSeek and do a simple search like what is digital identity. Uh-huh. And when you click that, you can be able to see, it will be able to think, and it will come back with a response for you. So for you can see this time it has given me something different. So your assignment is just to go and do a simple search on DeepSeek AI and find out what is the digital identity. And you can see it just brings back attributes, whatever we have talked about already right now. And I think it has added something about digital footprints, uh, identifier, all that. So depending on the way you'll ask your question, you'll be able to get your answers. So I'll attach both, also this one, because it's a bit I can see it has more flesh to it. So I'll attach this link also in the description, so that you can be able to go over it again. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I'm Jude Giduma Njogu, your guide, or Mr. Mtandao. And what we are doing, we are giving businesses and organizations in Africa a digital identity and presence.